think you can't make mistakes. But the choices you make could get yourself and everyone under your command killed. But I believe in you, Jim. Darkness is coming. This could just be the beginning.
Beginning of what?
All-out war.
I had a way of opening this, but my sinuses have destroyed my brain. Or maybe it's just the weird bug that got inserted into my helmet. But, anyway, welcome to our Star Trek review, people. We promise to be civilized in this one, in the honor of the original Star Trek series, which is all about peace and understanding. And optimism. So, are you guys still there?
We're here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, shit. Normally, yeah.
We don't respond to optimism.
I know, I was about to say, normally someone would have jumped in and went, oh, no, boo. Okay. But yeah, maybe we won't be that optimistic, because we have to have something to talk about. But yeah, joining me today is Jackson.
Hello.
And also Mike.
Hello.
Yes, and we're here to talk about Star Trek Into Darkness. And I am, as always, completely alone in this.
No, I think we've got a spread here. I think you're on one end, I'm on the other end, and then Mike's kind of in the middle.
Mike's kind of in the middle. He still leans more towards your direction, but yeah, I was like, if anybody's gonna like this, it's gonna be Mike and Kevin, and I have no idea how Kevin feels about this, because he went radio silence for us for a while there. But Mike, I still know is closer to your side, but that's fine. Yeah, this is not like the last one. This is not like the last Star Trek film in which, if people didn't like it, it's like, okay, I've got stuff I can argue with. If people don't like this one, it's like, dude, I totally understand your point. I fully understand, because I'm just gonna say it, this is a dumb movie. This is a dumb movie. But I had fun with it, and it's like, I'm fully capable of going into dumb movies and just turning my Vulcan brain off, and just going in there solely just with the, woo, yeah, fuck it, have fun. And that's what I had with this. But, let's begin with the plot of the film. The plot of the film is that Kirk is still being a child like he was in the last one. More so, even, oddly enough. And all of a sudden, this guy, what was his name? Jim Howlett? What was his name? No, that's Wolverine. What's his name? James Harrison.
James Harrison.
James Harrison.
Was that it? Yeah. All of a sudden, Benedict Cumberbatch starts showing up in England and fucking shit up. And he's taking out, libraries, and he's, killing people. It doesn't sound like I'm giving you that detailed of a plot, but it really isn't that detailed of a plot. So, anyway, then, it involves Kirk going after this guy, I keep wanting to say James Howlett. Benedict Cumberbatch. He keeps going after Benedict Cumberbatch. Although Kirk going after Wolverine would have been a much better movie. But anyway.
Dude, I'd watch that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
The kill setting is my stun setting. Alright. Fan fiction written. Okay. But yeah, there's not a whole lot else you need to know about the plot at this point. It goes a little bit deeper than that, but yeah, really, that's one of the things that I think is one of my complaints, is that this really is kind of a short idea of what happens. Like, because there's only really, like, three big settings, three big events throughout the whole thing, in my mind. So it's a really kind of short thing.
Except it's not, because there's like about 1 billion things happen in the beginning for no reason. Like, everyone gets demoted and then promoted again for some reason.
Well, it wasn't really that they got promoted again. Yeah, they get demoted in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, shit goes down. You know what? Hey, man, let me just do this. But you find out why they're allowed to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a reason behind it, behind what that. But yeah,
it's this weird thing that a lot of the like the Transformers movies as well have very simple plots that they then muddy with a lot of convoluted things rather than having more complex plots told simply. It's odd.
I can agree with that. Yeah, that's. I would not go quite as far as the Transformer ones, because the Transformer ones.
Oh no, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of.
But yeah, it's similar. Yeah, it's like it's a cleaned up version of the Transformer kind of way of writing. Totally. Yeah, but yeah, I can agree with that. But this movie does let you know, kind of right off the bat, how you should feel about this. because the first time that we see them, they are running and having spears thrown at them, and it's an exciting scene. Like, I was ducking with the 3D glasses on, watching some of that stuff. But, I mean, there's a moment in which, Bones asks Kirk, what are you holding? He says, I don't know, I saw them praying to it, so I just took it. I was like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, in the last one, I got that this is not the same Kirk that we knew. That he is a more rebellious Kirk, he is a more impulsive Kirk because he did not have his father there. So I'm fully able to understand it. And honestly, I love alternate realities. I wish that more brands of science fiction would do alternate reality stuff. So yeah, I fully understand that this Kirk is not the Kirk that we knew from the series. But even then, he's still far more childish in this one than he was in the previous one, which doesn't make sense. You would think he would have grown from the previous one.
I think it's less childish and more that he's just become kind of a cocky asshole.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. He's more of a dick in this one. And a confident dick, yeah. The worst kind.
He's the, cocky, womanizing playboy. He's like Bruce Wayne without the money.
Very true. Although he does have a starship, so that's still pretty good.
Yes.
He has banged more alien species than Bruce Wayne, which is something to brag about. But he's not really the only one who is still kind of, like, more reverted. Like, in this one, Spock is way more... Like, they are falling back way too much on the I'm being very logical joke, which, don't get me wrong, I laughed at a couple of those jokes in the beginning. Not, like, hearty laughs, but I go, that's funny. Kind of in the beginning, but they keep playing that so much. But I gave him a little bit of a pass because they do have a moment which he goes, yeah, of course I'm being logical. My planet was destroyed in the last one. How do you think that makes me feel? And I was like, okay, fair enough. But still, yeah, they play it up a little bit too much. Like, the thing about J.J. Abrams is, that dude paints with a broad brush. He does not do the fine touches. He does not make little happy trees when he paints. He does a big streak. And that is how he paints. And I like that for the last one, because I feel that when you are introducing a whole new universe and really getting all these characters in there, yeah, I think you need kind of a broad brush for the introduction, because it gets all these big things all at once. It gets, these little themes, we might not touch on that much, but you get like a quick splash of them. That's all that you need for the introduction. This is the second one. And the second one, you need more details. You need to see characters grow. You need more information and more characters, basically. Not more characters as in adding to the cast, but more as in, like, revealing about each person's character. And once again, this is just broad strokes that he's doing, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, they kind of introduce a couple of things with Spock and Uhura, but it's like, they throw it in there in the beginning and, like, try to bring it back once or twice and then completely forget about it.
It's totally unsuccessful what they do, I think, with that. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, the idea of Spock and Uhura having relationship trouble, it's like, all right, fine, I'll see where you take this. And it's not really taking it to a very good place.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think the thing with like the broad brush relationships, and my biggest problem with this as a film is how the script is written. It's extremely broad. It's extremely terrible character work, and that Kirk basically goes into a room at the beginning of the movie, and Pine goes, "Here is exactly the lesson you are going to learn. This is what is wrong with your character, and this is what will happen to your character at the end. This is what you will learn. Please go out and learn it." And it's just the most telegraphed thing. It doesn't.
He doesn't even really learn it that well either. Yeah.
Oh no, they don't execute it well. But there is a thing where they point to a screen and go, "Here is what's going to happen in today's lesson, Kirk. Are you ready? Off you go. I'm off to die," because that happens in the trailer.
Oh, it does. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right, we'll let that slide in. But
yeah.
It's. But I will say there is one character in here which I did enjoy, and I do think they got a little bit like I actually felt for them. I did not feel like they were more of just like a caricature.
It's almost Scotty's alien friend, isn't it?
Can I just say, in the first one I was like, I don't really know why that guy's here. I actually like him in this one, and he's only in 2 scenes. He only does one thing, really. It's they're at the bar, and then there's a scene where he steals Scotty's drink while he's on the phone. I was like, I like you, little man. I don't even know your name, but I like you. He's relatable. But yeah, actually, speaking of Scotty, that was one of the things I loved about the last one, is that I felt that every single member of that main cast got a defining moment in which, it's like, okay, that's why they're here. In this one, I feel like Sulu gets another defining moment. I think they do some funny stuff with Chekhov. And I think that Scotty actually gets some good defining moments, and he actually does get a little bit more character. He gets a little bit more exposure to his character. You actually see, like, some complexities in him. But, like I said, in the second one, you introduce all these characters. You need to move everybody a little bit forward, and not with, like, just here's a good scene. I mean, I was able to enjoy those good scenes. I mean, there's a scene with Sulu being a total badass, and I really enjoyed that. But yeah, just speaking as for the second movie, you can't just have the one badass scene. You need to move forward a little bit more.
Well, I think that if you want to go deep into why that is, the problem goes back all the way to Wrath of Khan. Wrath of Khan was great, and it had captain versus villain, big thing, and every single Star Trek movie since then, except 4, has tried to use that as a standpoint, and it focuses on the captain so much that you lose the ensemble.
Yeah.
And that's why the TV shows are far better than the films, is because all the films are trying to ape this captain as main person standpoint. When you have about 10 characters, you need to do something more with them. You can't just have them show up and say their line.
Yeah,
you have to have them plot lines.
Yeah, and honestly, even speaking of the old series, I like the old series, but to me, I was like, this is still a little too much of just Kirk, Spock, and occasionally Bones. I would like to see even more of the additional characters get more focus in their episodes. And which I think that's one of the reasons I was so excited from that last one. I was like, okay, yeah, I understand this is Kirk and Spock's story, but I am loving just seeing that each character gets some kind of a defining moment. In this one, yeah, like I said, it is once again back to being solely Spock and Kirk. Not even Bones really gets that much, and I was at least like, hey, Bones is great in the last one. I love Carl Urban as Bones. But in this one, yeah, even Bones doesn't really get a defining moment, or even get much to do, really, in it. You know, he has a Tribble cameo, and that's about it. Oh god, that was stupid.
It was so stupid.
I actually, in the last one, I heard a lot of people complain about all the little, like, winks and nods. And I was like, you know what, I'm actually enjoying these winks and nods. I don't think they overdo it. In this one, they don't do more winks and nods. I'd say there were probably even less winks and nods in this one, but they're bad. Like, I mean, in the very beginning, Spock just shoves in there the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Yeah, and I was like, going back to Transformers again, did you not learn anything? Jeez.
Oh, it's because, like, Star Trek there's an episode of Deep Space Nine where basically they go back to the original series, and that's like the most references the franchise has ever done, and that's great. Whereas here they're trying to do it in a way of, like, there's nothing, like, there's no reason for them. They don't serve a purpose. They're not really there for nostalgia. They're just there to be like, hey, a Tribble. You like Tribbles, don't you? Look at the Tribble.
Exactly. In the first one, yeah, it's like, you know what, this is the first of this new thing, but let's put in a little cameo. It's the Stan Lee cameo for the Marvel films, is what it is. It's having, some random character be mentioned on a screen in the background of one of the X-Men films. It's like, oh, that was Gambit's name up there. That's kind of what they were in that last one. In this one, it is just shoved in there, especially with...
There's the Section 31 reference, which I think was the closest they got to doing something decent with that. Because the whole Section 31 thing is a thing from something else, which is kind of deep, but that worked. But, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even really mind the, at one point they mentioned one of Kirk's old lovers, which I don't even remember which one they said, but I was like, alright, that's fair enough, whatever. But yeah, so that was another one that I didn't really mind, but yeah, there's the Tribble one, there's the Needs of the Many, and there is one that I will not say because it does spoil something, but to me, I heard someone else reviewing this, I wish I could take credit for it, but someone else said that is the equivalent of the no moment at the end of episode 3, and I was like, you know what? It is, because that dropped my rating down an entire point. It is so shoved in there.
Well, not only is it shoved in there, but it serves absolutely no emotional
and it doesn't
purpose
match,
either.
Yeah, it is, once again, it's a reference to something else, and it does not match the emotional resonance of that moment. Like, it is something that in the last time it was done in the original series... It's something that if you take it out of context, which it has been taken out of context sometimes, it almost seems humorous. But when you watch it there in context, it's not humorous at all. You're totally with it. You were totally there.
I don't know. You might want to edit this out because of spoilers, but the whole context of that the entire 10 minutes preceding that is also a reference.
Oh yeah, it totally is.
The whole film becomes Just a succession of remember this, and you're like, ah.
Well, I will say this about that one moment. I will just, just to be honest with everybody, that one moment, as I mentioned, I love alternate realities, and one of the things I love about alternate realities isn't what if the Nazis won World War II? Or, what if we all evolved from raccoons? Not like those kind of alternate realities.
I bet it would be fucked up.
It would be probably fucked up. There would be garbage everywhere, man. They had thumbs. It could have happened, man. Okay. But hold on, new fanfic coming now. Okay. But yeah, I do, just to be honest with people, this is one of those times in which I can say something is terrible. I can flat out say, yes, I know that is bad, but I still kind of like it, just simply because, as I said, I love alternate realities, and not that big kind. I like the kind in which something small is twisted, and now the exact same moment is living out, but we see it in this new reality. And so I was like, you know what? I know the only reason I'm liking this is because I don't get that from movies enough. I am solely just going with the any port in a storm thing, but I can't take points out for that, because it's like, dude, nobody else has done this that I've seen in a long time, and I am desperate for it. So
it was a shame.
It's still a bad moment.
Well, the whole thing is terrible. That bit, like when they start doing things they've done before, like literally taking out lines from some of the old episodes and films, and you're like, which is a shame, because about 20 minutes previously, the film had actually gone in a direction that, if it had stuck with that, if certain twists had not happened, would have been pretty good. And edit this out, but for context, I basically mean if was never a villain.
Yeah.
Like if they had stuck to their guns in other settings, and instead of filling into references, had done something with the alternate reality.
Yes.
That would have been worthwhile, at least.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a thing in which I gotta take back something that I said earlier, because there was a moment, I was talking with some folks at the comic book store that I work at about Iron Man 3, and I said, you know what, I feel like a lot of people just went in there and wrote their own fan fiction about that film, and when it didn't turn out to be that, they were mad. I'm totally taking that back now, because the moment that the villain in this, who was a villain from a previous thing, suddenly, like he and Kirk team up, I'm like, oh my god, I've now written my own fanfiction for Star Trek 3, in which these guys are now allies, in which Benedict Cumberbatch is on the Enterprise. This is gonna be great, and, oh, you're not doing that? Well, fuck, man! It would have been so good!
Well, it would have been good, but it also would have had a point to it. There would have been something to say.
Exactly.
Like, because of alternate universe, it would have said something about like circumstance being like
things
that
have shifted. And I mean there is a moment in there in which they do something with that, because I heard some critics, Star Trek fans, I should say, because this is what they were complaining about, is that there is who they revealed to be a secondary villain in this. They go, well, that would never have happened because this kind of character would not have existed in the Star Trek world, because it is a utopia and is a positive future in which these kinds of things would not happen. I love the fact that this guy in here goes, hey man, I would not have done this, but when Spock's planet got blown up, I realized I had to get real. And I was like, okay, they have shown how some things are changing because of this alternate reality. I like that. But yeah, they did not go. They should have gone that way with Benedict Cumberbatch. It would have been.
Yeah, it would have been far much better.
I think that he could have still stayed the villain had they not done that reveal, quote unquote. I mean, I think that using that name, trying to convey some kind of emotion or something from people who have loved previous films, just kind of was pointless and fell flat. I think if they had gone in their own direction with him as a villain, I thought he was one of the best parts of the film.
Oh, I agree with you there. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to totally put myself out there for everyone to fire at, because I actually like him better than the character he is playing in the old one. I felt more sympathy for him, and he kind of creeped me out. Don't get me wrong, the original villain I thought was very creepy and delivered the lines great. Benedict Cumberbatch, I think, also delivers them creepy, and I did feel more sympathy for him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know I'm alone on that one. I'm
not saying anything, because if I would, I'd be just like, fuck you!
I know. I do not feel... I realize that... You know what? Fuck it, people. Spoilers in 5, 4, 3,
Alright, let's
2,
do
1.
this!
Alright, it's Khan! It is... J.J. Abrams is the biggest liar ever. It's Khan. And yeah, I will admit,
If he had
man,
just told you,
I
if he
will
had
admit,
just set
man,
up front.
I know that Wrath of Khan is considered to be not just the best Star Trek film, but one of the best science fiction films of all time. I know that is considered it. Everybody has huge love for it. There's just something I didn't really see about it, man. I mean, it is just me. I am totally at Maine. It is totally just me. I didn't dislike it. I like Wrath of Khan. But, like, I know so many people were like, oh, and Khan is such a relatable character. I was like, he's a fucking space Nazi trying to take over the universe.
No, at least no one I know says Wrath of Khan is amazing because you really relate to Khan.
Oh, there's a lot of people out there, man.
Well, they're dumb and wrong.
Okay, well, fine. We're in agreement on this one. Yes. But yeah, I know that they were like, he's sympathetic, at least was a lot of the arguments. It's like, oh, you can understand how he was wronged over. It's like, no, he fucking wasn't. He was wronged over by the sun and then went nuts.
That's not what Wrath of Khan's about at all.
No!
What crazy people have you been talking to?
Yeah, like I said, man, I try to not live in the bubble, which means I see a lot of crazy viewpoints out there. But yeah, so I found a little bit more sympathy with Khan's character in this one. And also, I'm not gonna admit, like I said, 5 minutes into this thing, okay, turn off the logic part of your brain and just enjoy the craziness of it. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Benedict Cumberbatch smashing a dude's skull is awesome, in my opinion. I love that scene. So, which I understand is not Star Trek. I fully understand. Anybody wants to say, this is not Star Trek in any way, I am behind you on that. This is totally not Star Trek. You should not judge a Star Trek film the same way you judge a Fast and the Furious film. But it's kind of what I'm doing.
Right. I think just my biggest complaint, though, is that this film was not fun. It took out all the fun from the 09 Trek. Like, all the there were plenty of people in the audience when I saw it that were laughing at all the jokes. Like, I laughed maybe a couple of times because they just felt too forced. And the actors themselves, like, just didn't seem like they were into it that much. Like, Carl Urban did not seem like he was into Bones so much.
Not as much as in the last one, definitely.
No, and just, again, like, Alice Eve, her character, completely pointless on multiple levels.
Well, her point was, hey, it's this girl.
Well,
her point was she's in her underwear for 2 seconds.
But her point was also, hey, she's in Wrath of Khan,
yeah,
so we have to put her in here, even though she has nothing to do.
Yeah, exactly. She had nothing to do. And then you have Spock at the end being somehow turns into this complete badass when that's not really Spock.
That's not Spock in any way. Yeah, once again, this is totally not a Star Trek film in any way.
Right, and I'm not even, like, the biggest Trekkie either, but it's like, you can't go from one end of the perspective, even within the same film. Like, at the beginning, he's like, oh, logically, you should have let me die, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, no, now I'm feeling all these emotions. Like, make up your mind. Like, I understand, he's half Vulcan, half
Maybe
human.
There's a deleted scene where he took in those space spores from that ice planet in that one episode. Maybe that's another reference they had to cut out.
Spock just standing there going, I know I can't handle all these feels. Spock on Space Tumblr.
Oh my god.
The thing I really disliked about the ending is just that there's a chase, and then it cuts to black on the final punch hit or whatever, and then it fades up and goes, yeah, I guess here's what happened, okay, we're done now. No proper ability to, like, draw it to some kind of close or have any sense of good pacing. It just cuts to black and someone tells you what happened after the fighting stopped. It was lazy.
Well, yeah, it's what they're trying to do is make you go, oh, did Spock actually kill him or not? And it's like, you know what? He didn't. You know he didn't. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's like it would have been better if you had seen him not kill him. Damn, we were spoiling everything in this, aren't we?
We already did a warning.
We already did the warning. All right, fuck it.
We'll put a timestamp on the thing.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
If you're not going to kill Kirk, you're not going to have Spock become a murderer.
Well, right, and oh my god, that scene, not only was it just, okay, we're going to completely rip off Wrath of Khan, except reverse the roles, because, that's going to make anybody give a shit more, but you got that, but then it's like, You know they're not going to kill Kirk. You know they've already introduced, oh, Khan has super regenerative blood. It's like, of course, oh, we already saw Bones inject into the Tribble. You know he's going to fucking live. It's so stupid.
I would far rather have seen Kirk's head in a big jar filled with water via Futurama.
To be fair, I was waiting for the moment where in the middle of the battle, because of that reference with the Kirk's blood and the Tribble, that in the middle of this giant battle, suddenly they were like, oh fuck, there's Tribbles everywhere.
I know! Weren't you expecting an after-credits scene with that?
It would have been the dumbest thing.
It would have been dumb, but at that point I was like, dude, I am here to see a dumb movie at this point, which once again is not what Star Trek should be, but it's like, I have accepted it. It's like, you know what?
They're just ripping off things and doing dumb things, and absolutely no one is under the pretense that this is serious Star Trek, then if they want to go and remake Wales or God, I'm fine with this.
Oh, God.
Oh,
no.
yeah.
Yeah, but just, come on, how dumb would it be? How dumb would it be to have Chris Pine search for God? It'd be the best thing!
No, what they're going to do is they're going to do another Generations, except this time, I don't know, they're going to bring in fucking Scott Bakula for some reason.
Scott Bakula does exist in this universe, so...
Oh, yeah, because he came before that, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
He's got Face of the Heart.
Did not think about that. But yeah, I've pretty much been talking mostly just what my problems are, except for like a few little things I said. Basically, the one thing that divides us really, because I think we're very much in agreement on this, except for the fact that, like I said, I just went in here and went, well, maybe this one's gonna be better. They're going to progress this, and then like I said, the Moni said, I don't know what this scroll is, but I took it. I went, okay, shut off any hope of that. You're here to watch a dumb movie, and honestly. Yeah, I think the big thing that divides us is I did have fun with a lot of the action scenes. I mean, when they do the Dead Space 2 ripoff scene, I was like, this is a huge ride. I just want to put my hands up in the air like I'm on a roller coaster. I'm loving this. Yeah, it is solely just me enjoying the wild, crazy action. I did really like Scotty. I did like what they did with Chekhov. There are those moments where they go, alright, that's a badass moment.
They did anything with Chekhov?
What they did with Chekhov was purely for humor. You're thinking in terms of like
okay.
Yeah, you're thinking in terms of like moving his character.
Chekhov just put on a red shirt and then hang around and caught someone off a ledge, and he was like, "Okay, I'm done now."
Once again, that's a scene that that is mostly what they do with him. Except that I like both those moments with him. I'll admit, the moment that he says "put on a red shirt," I was like, "Okay, that is a reference I enjoy," but I fully understand everybody else going, "Oh, fuck you." But,
right.
yeah, like I said, this is not going to be like, Star Trek, the first Star Trek film, in which I said, no, man, here is why it's good. Here is why it is actually enjoyable, and yet actually kind of brilliant. No, I wouldn't say brilliant, but actually good what they did with it. No, this is one which is like, you know what, I took some things away from this that I had a lot of fun with in the theater. Not going to buy it on DVD, but I'm still glad I saw it, because it was fun, and that is it. That is all it was to me. Just, a fun little roller coaster ride. I did enjoy Benedict Cumberbatch. I liked a couple of the moments that they had in there that weren't action scenes. I felt pretty good with Scotty. Like I said, I'm just rehashing what I already said.
There were moments in that film that weren't action? I didn't notice.
No, there's actually a fair amount of scenes in there that aren't action, but you can't really tell because J.J. Abrams is blinding you throughout the whole fucking thing.
Oh.
Can I just, listen, whenever somebody used to point out, oh, he uses lens flares, I was like, that's just his style, fuck you. In this one, holy shit. It's almost like everybody went, okay, yeah, we have been talking about the lens flares for too much, we'll just shut up. And J.J. Abrams went, it's been 5 months and I haven't heard anyone criticize my lens flares. Is it okay to use them all now at once? Because there are moments where there's like supposed to be an emotional moment between a father and daughter going on, and a lens flare is so big it blocks out her mouth as she's talking. What the fuck makes you think that's a good idea? Oh, but yeah.
If we can talk about J.J. Abrams' cinematography, the bigger problem is, one, like, for example, in that opening chase, they have the dramatic conversation about the Prime Directive, and for no fucking reason there's a shot of a whale because I guess that's funny. It's like, we can't let the scenes breathe. We have to fill it with information, fill it with jokes, fill it with gags when you have a drama going on. And the camera never stops moving. It never allows anything to build up naturally. It's always on all the time, even in the scenes where it's not actually on.
Well, now I think that the reason why they're trying to fill up so much of it with action is because, yeah, he wants this to be like a ride. So he wants you to be, like, from the moment you're just fired out of a gun in this thing. And
But take Iron Man 3, for example. That is a ride, but when that film gets slow, that film gets slow.
Oh.
It is a ride, it goes up and down. Where this is always much more kinetic and much more distracting. So
yeah,
Iron Man
exactly.
3 is
Like I
better.
said, because Iron Man 3 also had a plot that was moving on. Like,
That's
this
true.
one is just stuff happening up on screen. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I've felt various things during this stuff. Like, there were tense moments for me. Like, I enjoyed the little, like, standoff scene between the big Enterprise and the small Enterprise. I like that moment. But, I mean, that's pretty much the only tense moment I had during this thing. Aside from that, it was like, whee! And that was my emotion. But you know what? Every now and again, I'm fine just going to a movie and saying wee for 2 hours. But yeah, anybody else have anything they want to throw out before we give our ratings?
I hope we don't get a third one.
I hope we...
I
gonna
shouldn't
get a
say
third
that.
one.
I hope we get
I
a
mean,
third one, just not with J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's going to be, doesn't really matter. They're going to have to try to do it in J.J. Abrams' style, and it's going to have a script by Kurtzman and Orsi, and probably Lindelof as well.
I don't really know if it will, because, yeah, the critics still really like this thing, but the critics kind of liked it for the reason why I like it, because it was like, okay, yeah, it's dumb. But, whereas with the last one, they were like, oh, I can't wait for it because it did so many things right. With this one, it was like, alright, it's a summer movie, and we're happy. But the fans on this one are having a far more negative reaction than they did to the first one. After the first one, you know, it has a huge... Like, I think on Rotten Tomatoes, it was like 99% of people who saw it liked it. Like, it was gigantic. On this one, yeah, it is like, it's okay, I guess.
Well, a lot of people, me included, liked the original 2009 Star Trek a lot more first time round, and fans have come around to not liking it as much as time has gone on, because you have to rewatch them to kind of...
I think
that's what happened to me.
I agree with you, because you said, hey, go back and watch the original Star Trek films and the Star Trek TV show, and I did go back and see it, and I was like, I still really like that first Star Trek film. I really do. This did not change how much I enjoyed it, but you are right, it is not really Star Trek.
Yeah,
It is the summer... The first one was the summer blockbuster version of Star Trek. This one was... I don't know, the now that's what I call music version of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
But the problem is they're not gonna give it to someone like I didn't even know who they would give it to. Who I'd be like, yeah, they could do a great Star Trek movie, because standard Star Trek one, they're not going to try to do that. They're going to try
and still make it an action thing, but you can still. I mean, when you look at a lot of the summer blockbusters that we've had over recent history, you've seen that there are those films that they can add story and plot and still have it be big and fun. I mean, looking at the Avengers last year, or looking at pretty much any Pixar thing that Brad Bird has ever done, yeah, you can still do that with these things. So if they can find someone who's willing to, put more story into it and focus more on that, and use the action not as like just, hey, this is cool to look at, but more as like it serves a point to the story, or it was building towards this moment. I think.
But the next film's going to be huge and really referential because 50th anniversary.
Oh shit!
2016.
Is it really?
2016.
Oh.
Damn.
Yeah.
If it's 26, if that's the 50th anniversary, then you know that it's going to be a time travel thing where they meet all.
It's
going to
be Q. Q is going to show up, and Q is going to bring everyone together, and it's going to be. I don't even know. I don't know. It's going to be the Borg. It's going to be the Borg.
I don't know.
I still want it to be.
I wouldn't be.
I still want it to be. Who was the first villain that they fought on? That's weird for me to say because there were three.
Gary Mitchell.
Yeah, there were 3 different pilots to the show, but yeah, who was the first villain they fought on the third pilot?
Gary Mitchell, the one who thought it was a god.
Yeah, I would love to see that. That is what I think they could do a great summer blockbuster film with, and still have it be what Star Trek is supposed to be as far as like story and characters.
Mike, what were you saying?
Oh no, I was just saying I wouldn't mind if they did Q or the Borg in the third one, because I think especially if they took it in an interesting direction. But again, I guess that depends on who the director is, who's writing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What are the bets on any? Having more old cast come back for the 50th anniversary, yes or no?
I know Shatner was already upset he'd never got invited to the 09 one, so I don't see him coming.
Yeah.
Shit, I mean, I don't... who do you even bring that anyone's going to... I mean, other than, Picard, Riker, Janeway, Cisco...
I just want to
Dude.
I mean...
I just want to see old Chekhov come back and just be talking about how much he hates being there.
Isn't he dead?
No, he's still alive, but he...
Oh, no, I'm thinking Scotty. Never
Scotty's
mind.
dead, yeah, but Walter Koenig is famous for hating Star Trek. In fact, there's a comedian out there, Jimmy Pardo, who is married to his daughter, and when his daughter introduced him to Walter Koenig for the first time, she told him before meeting, okay, listen, there's only one rule. You cannot bring up Star Trek. And he's like, oh, he doesn't like fans? He's like, no, he doesn't like that. He does not like anything Star Trek related, which is why I still, to this day, say the Futurama Star Trek episode is the best tribute to Star Trek they've ever done.
Second to Galaxy Quest, probably, but yeah.
Well, that is an homage. Like, this was Anyway. But yeah, so anybody else have anything they want to say before we go into... I love that we all just stop for 5 seconds to just start doing our pitches for the next one. But anybody have anything else they want to bring up before we go into our rating?
No.
Alright, yeah, alright. I'll go, and I guess we'll go in descending order. I'll start and say, yeah, you already know everything I thought. I'm giving this a high 3 stars. It's, it's a fun 3 stars, if that's an actual rating of some in any way.
It is.
Yeah.
It is exactly the same as I felt about Terminator 3.
You know what? Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about Terminator 3. Because when I saw Terminator 3, I was like, that was fun. I enjoyed that 2 hours I was in there. I'm not watching it again. Yeah, that is exactly how I felt about Terminator 3. So yeah, high 3 stars.
Hilarious.
Alright.
Well, I guess I'm going to just give it a straight 3 stars.
Right down the middle.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many low points, and I think they could have gone a whole different direction with Khan, Benedict Cumberbatch, whatever. But I did enjoy some of the action scenes. Yeah, so 3.
Alright, Jackson?
Well, I know I've said good things, but at the end of the day, I hate it more than any film I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So, it's 1 star, but those are the reasons,
You can
not because of it.
You can still go down to not a goddamn thing. We do have that rating.
That is true. That is true.
Nobody's used that rating yet if you want to break it in.
Alright, that's it. This film is... But only because it's so close and personal to what I like, I would... rated that. It's not that bad, but I'm me.
Well, yeah,
so not
and
a
also,
goddamn thing.
you need this diehard Star Trek fan on here. I am a casual fan. It's like, oh yeah, I'll catch it if it happens to be on Mom. And I enjoy that. You're the diehard fan, and someone needs to speak for the diehard fans on this review.
Well, it's true, but it's not like... I don't dislike the movie as much as I dislike people seeing this as what Star Trek is.
Yeah,
fine. Have your dumb movie. Call it Star Trek if you will, but stay aware that this is just dumb spaceship stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like in the first one, I was willing to say, like, you know what, I can still see, like, specks of Star Trek in there, even after going back and seeing the old episodes. I was like, you know, I can still see specks of it. It is the dumb summer movie version of Star Trek, whereas, like we said, this one is no, it's not. I'm not even coming up with a metaphor on this one, and for anybody who knows me, if I can't come up with a metaphor with something, holy fuck. So...
Yeah, I guess it just gives me hope that some of these other sci-fi space films coming out later this summer will be better. Because that's like all the trailers that I saw before Star Trek was like all sci-fi space related. Because there was Elysium, Man of Steel, a couple others. I forget what, but
Pacific
it's got me
Rim.
excited. What?
Pacific Rim. Gravity.
No, there wasn't Pacific Rim in front of mine.
I'm
but
so
I'm excited
for
for that
Pacific Rim.
too.
This movie would have
Yes.
been better if Benedict Cumberbatch had picked up a giant steamboat and smacked Kirk across the face with it. But
It's a good note to go out on.
The ship's dead, sir. She's gone.
No, she's not.
No ship should go down without her, Captain.
I believe in you, Jim.